We'll call this meeting to order. First up is the roll call.
Mr. Wright?
Here.
Mr. Lopez?
Here.
Mr. Hennis?
Here.
Ms. Harrington? Here. And Mr. Kirby?
Here.
Item B is the pledge of allegiance. Would everyone stand, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Y'all join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you much. We'll move down to items number 2. First up is adopted agenda.
I move we adopt the agenda as presented tonight.
Have a motion. Is there a second? I second.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Hennis?
Yes.
Ms. Harrington? Yes. And Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Item B under number 2 is the minutes from our prior meeting. Get a motion on that if we could, please.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Hennis?
Yes.
Ms. Harrington?
Yes.
And Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Down under recognitions, first up is item A, which is Student of the Month recognition. CP, whoever wants to come up first.
Oh, okay. Melissa and Kenneth, if you join, please. President Hennis, and board members, tonight we'll recognize 2 students for our CT Student of the Month program. Both from Vista Grande High School, one from the Automation Robotics program, and the other from the Graphic Design program, which are only in their 2nd year of existence. First, Melissa Waldron. Melissa is from the Graphic Design program at Vista Grande. Her nominating teacher at Vista Grande stated, Melissa always goes above and beyond the expectations. She has a positive attitude and respect for school-wide goals. We always appreciate a student that puts that amount of effort into everything she does. A true Spartan that models positivity, respect, integrity, and determination. She is the true definition of striving for excellence. Melissa is one of 2 student ambassadors that represent the graphic design program on recruiting trips to feeder schools and was recently filmed for the program's recruitment video. Upon graduation, Melissa plans to attend college and study animation and graphic design. Melissa's parents are Donald and Juanita Waldron. Melissa, congratulations. Next, we have Kenneth Hernandez, who was nominated by his automation robotics teacher, Mr. Ramon Estrada, who stated, Kenneth always has a positive attitude towards learning new things and helping others. He follows directions as instruction takes place in the classroom and on the online platform. He works hard on his projects with the VEX technology. He completes assignments and robotics activities on time and with high quality, while demonstrating excellent teamwork and collaboration skills. He also demonstrates safety in the workplace when working with electrical and mechanical systems. He is a team player who is always willing to help others by assisting them with technical support to ensure his teammates can succeed in their learning. Kenneth's parents are Raul and Ariana Hernandez.
Thank you guys very much. Congratulations. Next up will be the Rotary Students of the Month.
Good evening, President Hannes, members of the governing board, and Superintendent Beebe. Tonight, I have the honor of nominating Benjamin Mollett, Student of the Month, Rotary Student of the Month from Vista Grande High School. His parents, Anna and John Mollett, are here with us tonight. And Benjamin is currently second in command in our JROTC program. He ran the 4x800 in track and field. He has participated and helped win his church's volleyball tournament, works at the local Sonic when he's not busy with JROTC, and studying. First place in CG Flag Football Division 5 in 2015, and he was a blue belt in karate. He hopes to graduate Air Force ROTC to become an officer in the Air Force so he can fly aircraft at some point. He'd like to work for an airliner at some point. He says airports are one of his favorite places to be, and hopes to go through life making plenty of friends. Ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin Mollett.
Good evening, Board President Hannes, board members, Dr. Beebe. It's a pleasure to be before you today. I'd like to excuse our Rotary Club member of the month, Michaela Wright, who is cheering right now at one of the basketball games. But we would like to honor and recognize her. Her parents are Amy and Brian Wright, and she has a list of accomplishments longer than I can probably read tonight, and we'll make the best attempts. She's a student council member for the last 3 years. Been a secretary sophomore year, vice president junior year, currently senior class vice president. Quite the leader. A key club member for all 4 years, and is currently the historian. National Honor Society member the last 2 years. A lead crew member, Cougar ambassador, both her sophomore and junior year. FCCLA member, currently an intern for early childhood education. And a member, as I mentioned earlier, Spirit Line for 3 years, currently varsity cheer, and excited about competing on that stage. Some of her personal activities and accomplishments include getting on honor roll all 4 years, graduating with honors, graduating top 3%, accepted at NAU, ASU, CCU, and U of A, all with scholarships, having an ECE certificate by the end of this summer, and then hoping to take having taken college classes the last 2 years. Some of her personal activities include tutoring a second grader, and I love this part every day after school. I don't think there's a lot of team, well, I shouldn't say that. As a team, I wouldn't have been doing that. Making cards for people in need at her church, being active in her church's youth choir and adult choir, and then I love her career goal. After she finishes up with ECU classes through CAC this summer, she wants to get her certificate and start working in a preschool. And then plans on going to college to get a degree in speech language pathology. We certainly need both. And by the end of college, plans on having a master's degree in speech language pathology and start working in a school, hopefully from the back here. So please help me recognize Michaela Wright.
Thank you very much. We are down to Employee of the Month recognition.
President Hannes, members of the governing board, it's always our pleasure. So at this time, I'm going to ask Mary Ann to come to the podium, and so she'll read the names of the employees of the month. And then employees of the month, as your name is read, if you'll just come up here, we'll let you pick up your plaque and congratulate.
Fiona Peck. Patricia Armato. Crystal Valles. Jackie Arvisu. Greg Anderson. Cheryl D. Matas.
Let her take home all of them.
That's right. Pick it up. Congratulations. Thank you.
Beth Craig.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And Dan Griffiths.
Right there, sir. Thank you.
Smile for the camera.
Thank you very much. I sure appreciate all you guys do. We are down to item 4, public comment. We have nothing today. And now we're down to item 5, which is superintendent reports. Dr. Beebe.
President Henderson, members of the board. First of all, I'd like to once again thank the Big House Cafe for agreeing to be our Employee of the Month sponsor for our Employee of the Month breakfast. Tonight's Employees of the Month will have the opportunity to join me at the Big House on Wednesday, March the 10th at 7:30 to be honored and have breakfast for their accomplishments. So, at this time, I'd also like to start by saying congratulations to our golden ticket winners for the month of March as well. This month, Gloria Ruiz from PG was our grand prize winner. Lori Hutt from Vista Grande, Marissa Yap from Casa Grande Union, and Chris Mallett from Casa Grande Union. So congratulations to all of them. And now, at this time, I would like to, I see her in the audience, Lisa Miller, would you stand? I would like to formally, I did not get the opportunity last board meeting, and that's on me. I'd like to formally introduce Lisa Miller as the new CTE director for the 2021-22 school year. We welcome her to our leadership team, and we look forward to her leadership moving forward. So I just wanted to formally congratulate and welcome her to leadership. So moving on, I want to say a big congratulations to the Casa Grande Union for a player, coach, and staff of the year recipient. So big turnout for their football program. Player and quarterback of the year was Angel Flores. Underclassman, Aiden Eger. The breakout player and running back of the year was RJ Keaton. Coach of the year, Jake Barrow. The offensive assistant coaching staff also was named. Wide receiver, Demetrius Garrett, and the offensive lineman, Gerald Keaton. Team offensive lineman and linebacker, Jacob Thomas. So congratulations to all of them. They had one heck of a season this past year. I'd also like to say a big congratulations to the seniors who participated in our winter sports programs. I've had the opportunity to attend most of the senior nights. I was at Vista Grande Wrestling, Casa Grande, and Vista Grande's girls basketball. Casa Grande boys basketball is happening right now, and that's why one of our cheerleaders is not here. And then later on this week, we have Vista Grande's boys basketball and boys soccer as well. So I'll be attending those. It's always a heartfelt time when you're a senior and it's your final season in high school. A big congratulations to the Casa Grande Union students who made the Southeast Regional Honors Band. So Jacob Varela on French horn, Drake Melton on tuba, Amar Bear on clarinet, and Raj Lim on trombone, and then Benjamin Maroney on trumpet. So,
Just a quick question. Tell me what the protocols are now for soccer, basketball, winter sports for as far as crowd.
well, the crowd is still up to the district and what we're doing. So in our district, we're going to continue to honor 2 guests per athlete, even as we move into the spring for the playoffs. So we're going to still with that. That seems to be working for us. As far as mask protocols, though, it just came out today from the AIA that they're allowing athletes who are in competition during the playoffs for winter sports to not be in their masks. So if they're in competition, if they're on the sideline, they have to wear a mask. Coaches have to wear a mask, but the athletes on the field of play will not have, or on the court will not have to. And then moving to the spring, it will be the same. So athletes who are actually competing will not have to wear a mask. If you're not in the game or on the sidelines, you'll have to wear it.
Thank you.
Yep. And then finally, I want to say a big congratulations to Merlin D'Souza, the most amazing senior at Casa Grande Union. Once again, she's led the charge for the district-wide STEAM Week that is going on all week. It's going on virtually. And as she got a chance to share with Kiwanis last week, and she's actually passing all this on to now a junior so that we can keep this alive even when she's moving on. So I just want to say thank you for her leadership and ensuring that events like this continue to go on in our city. And then the last piece I have, I don't know what the best way to do. I think I'll just put my mask on and pass these around real quick, and then I'll share them with you. So one of the things that was asked at the last board meeting is that we go ahead and survey our parents and kind of find out where they are as far as their return to school and their comfort. So this is the most current data that I have, and I wanted to share that with you. If you look, there's 1,280 responses now. It's still getting there. I'd like to see about another 1,200 myself. But also, this is not including our incoming 8th grade. We're working on surveying them right now, so we'll get that data to join this as well. But I just wanted to show you the first question, just really ask, what school they attend. And the second question, the grade level. And third question, where they'll be attending next year. And so you can see that question. But then I think on 4 and 5, the health guidelines will give the opportunity to return in person full time. How would you feel if you look at that number? 717 respondents said they're confident, 369 said they're nervous but would still send them. So I think if you look at that right now, the overwhelming majority of our parents are ready for their kids to be back and have a pretty good comfort level with them coming back. And then if you look at the effort for staffing for next year, we're trying to get an idea of what's going to happen. And right now, only 172 respondents have said that they would want to learn in a virtual format next year. Over 1,000 have said that they would definitely come back to an in-person format. So I wanted to make sure you have this and could share it with you. As we continue to get those results, by the April board meeting, I should have a very more comprehensive list, and we'll have our 8th graders, and I'll share that out with you once again. So that concludes my report.
Thanks very much. Next up is the business services presentation.
Good evening, President Hennis, governing board members, and Dr. Beebe. The following presentation is an overview of the Business Services Department, a look at who we are and what we do. Starting with transportation, we currently have Durham for our contract. It's a 5-year contract. We are actually in our 5th year with the contract, and we recently went out for RFP for possibly a new provider, or it might remain Durham. We have about 32 routes. 18 of them are special, or 18 of them are regular routes, and 14 are for specialized transportation. Our food service department, we are with Chartwells, and that is also a contracted company. However, we have Carla Wells, who is a district employee, and she's our liaison between the food service department. She was actually with Chartwells before she came to us in 2017. And what she does is processes applications for food service. She does the food ordering, just a lot of reporting. Let me see, now that we have our, since COVID has happened, we have free meals for everybody. So right now we have 27,761 meals, breakfast that were distributed to students, breakfast alone. Lunches were 27,823, and that's just for January. They're guaranteed to make us $100,000 in food service, and then that money goes back into the program. So we buy equipment to keep everything up to date. Katrina Wagner, she's our purchasing clerk. She came to us. This is her first year, but she's been with the district since 2012, and she's been a CTE as a para since she's been here. What she does is processes orders, make sure that we have quotes for everything, make sure that we're following due diligence requirements, and she assists in the process and processes W-9s for vendors. Martin Lopez is our accounts payable and grants director, or grants coordinator, I'm sorry. He processes invoices and verifies the goods have been received. He picks up checks from county. He's the one that sends you emails every week, asking for signatures. So, if you can, when he sends those, we can just get signatures back as soon as possible so that he can get his checks picked up and processed. He does annual inventories for us, and he's also a district translator. He assists with new hires if they don't speak, if they're not proficient in English, or if we have parents to call. He's also assisted in student hearings if parents are not English speaking. Sharon Rodriguez, she's our business manager. I'm not going to go through everything she does. Most of it is reconciling to county, a lot of reporting. She actually came from the County School Office in 2016. She was our accountant while she was over there, so she has a lot of knowledge and background in my department, so she's been a really big asset to us. Business Services Director, myself. Again, a lot of reports. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the main goal is just to make sure that the district is staying in compliance with everything, and we oversee daily operations. Our biggest thing is audit, making sure that we have everything sent to the auditors when they come. When we first took over, I think we were at 67 findings, and we have brought that down to about 20, 25 findings. And they're minor findings, so it's nothing. We're never going to have a 100% clean audit, but we strive for that. These are some of the member affiliations. We're with ASBO, Arizona Association for School Business Officials, ASBO International, GFOA, which is the Government Finance Officers Association, and ASBO International and GFOA, we are actually recipients of the Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting, and it's basically for our CAPR, like the end of the year reporting that we do. It just shows transparency and that we go above and beyond the minimum requirements for the accounting processes. The last time the district received this award was in 2000, so when we came on, we started that back up again. Our compliance, Heinfeld Meach, they're our auditing firm. They're also on a 5-year contract. They offer a lot of workshops that we attend. ADE is they provide a lot of information for us. And then the Auditor General, we have to follow the uniform system of financial records, and that's pretty much the Bible of the district. It tells us what to do, what we can't do, how to do it. And then some of the software systems that we use, we have Tyler Technologies for our accounting software. InTouch is for our bookstore. Time Clock Plus is what our employees use, and that InTouch and Time Clock transfer into Visions. So all of that information is feeds into each other, so that's very useful for us. Forecast 5 Analytics, it's a new program that we started. We got on with them a couple of years ago. They're fairly new. We haven't gotten as far as we would like to with them, but there's a lot of information that they can help us with. And it's going to help us with forecasting not only budget, but our growth, just demographics. So I'm excited to get that going. I think it'll be good for our curriculum department too. And that's basically questions.
Any questions? We sure appreciate it. You guys do amazing work and keep everything running and flowing, so thank you. And we will be sure and report back to Martin Lopez in a timely fashion. Next up is a facilities presentation.
You want to give an opportunity for folks to leave?
Yeah, if you're dying to go and do something more fun, you are more than welcome to skip off at any point if you're a student or something like that. You are not, there's not required attendance if you don't want to.
My stuff is pretty boring.
This is the most fun you'll have tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you guys all very much.
All right.
All
right, President Ennis, members of the board, Dr. Beebe, thanks for letting me share a little bit about what I do and what the facilities department does. See if this fancy presentation works for us.
You have a Prezi. He does, I already saw it, it's pretty good. That's nice.
Quite a few pictures, so we'll see if they'll all come up. Oh, what a bummer if it doesn't work. I can see it.
This one's, I don't.
All the IT guy has to do is walk up there.
It'll start working. What'd you do to it? That's why he's employee of. Yeah, exactly.
For the time,
Oh.
just duplicate it and then when you're done.
All right.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know me, my name's Tim Mace, Facilities Director. And there's quite a few hats that I wear within the district. Introduce some of those things for you. My goal, as the competitive nature I am, is to be faster than Gene. So see if I can. So just as a department, we're constantly performing inspections, like figure out what we have funding for, what's most appropriate for what we have going on for that time of year or that time of for whatever season it is. So we prepare a lot of quotes. We work closely with the business folks on that and analyze quotes. And it can be very tricky sometimes to get a lot of what we do is tricky stuff. It's tough to get apples to apples numbers when you're talking about a specific drive that's failed or some sort of strange pump that has very proprietary specific parts. It can be tough to get quotes. So that takes up a bit of time. Again, that's something that comes in seasons too. We do quite a bit of work with the SFB, which gives us grants for facility, mainly just deficiencies or broken equipment. Done a lot of work with those folks. Manage the capital projects as they come along. We have tons of vendor coordination just with fire safety services, with all of our fire systems being checked regularly. And that takes a bit of procurement and management, just literally having them on site, walking around with them, that sort of thing. We have to approve project completions. We manage the fuel for the district, all the utilities. The outside community use of facilities goes through my department. Then I also manage the warehouse, so part of that is making sure our assets are assigned appropriately. That can at times be tricky too. We constantly have to call you for help on that. And then property disposal. I'm sure there's other stuff that I do that's not in there, but just kind of give you an idea. I want to tell you a little bit about myself personally. I'm really proud to be a tennis coach. I'm in my 4th year of doing that. This was a couple of years ago. I couldn't find a recent picture, but I wanted to end with this part of the presentation because I feel like we were so under the radar last year. We were 44-1 in sets and 5-0 as a team. I got 5 senior tennis players on varsity, and so that was a sad ending to the season for those boys. But this year's looking good. We've been putting in some time on the tennis courts. So as a maintenance department, we field work orders. We got those come in from anybody in the district through a thing called online system called School Dude. Those get routed out and to the maintenance techs or whoever the appropriate person is within the facilities department. Or sometimes Dave and I argue about who should do it. Or whatnot. But you can see a bulk of them are air conditioning requests that take up. This is organized by time spent on that category. So you kind of see how time is allocated there. This is just a quick tour of one of our central plants. Both are very similar. This is over at Union. You can see the 3 chillers. This whole central plant right here was repiped. would say repipe. It's not like every pipe in the plant was redone, but it went from a primary secondary system where there's one loop that takes cold water through the plant and then a secondary pump that takes water out into the campus. It was redone with these two red pumps you see right there to be those are variable pumps now. So we're measuring the pressure of water going out, pressure of water coming back in, and then that pump drives up and down to give us way more efficiency. And, instead of 5 pumps now, we just have the 2. So that was a really cool project a couple years ago now. But we also, all the way to the left is a brand new, what's called mag bearing chiller that SFE paid for. So that was a pretty fun project to be a part of too. We're way more efficient. It can run, our other chillers have trouble running at less than like 60% capacity. So it can be using energy when not necessary. This other one can run like 30%. There's some other nerdy stuff that makes it fun. But here's one of our boilers. We got hot water we got to deal with, of course, as well. Here's a little bit out of order. Here's the towers. This is probably one of our biggest issues coming up, like in the next, I don't want to give it a timeline, but these are limping along. These are actually in much better shape than the ones at Vista Grande. And I have an application in with the SFP and working closely with them. We've already got them analyzed and we're working on getting funding to just replace the towers altogether over at Vista.
Question, Tim.
Yes, sir.
So the ones at Union are in better shape than the ones at Vista?
Yeah, these were replaced before my day. So when I got here, these were pretty new. And these are stainless steel, almost top to bottom. So these are pretty good.
So they're wax.
So that's why. And the ones at Vista are galvanized and they've taken a beating. The water here is just tough. I mean, you look here. It's a little premature on life cycle on the ones at Vista, but the SFB has not given us any trouble just because they're aware of the hard water that we have. And you see there's one pump in there in the corner part. That's kind of neat. Our maintenance guys have taken that pump apart and they'll replace the seals on that and grind it out and get it back up and running. But so all of our air conditioning are controlled on we have a server that houses the software that we can set up schedules. We're running this room right now based on a schedule that was set up in an office, one of the caves that I work in. They just kind of give you a snapshot. It's like, here's the Vista Grande campus, right? You click on the plant, here you can see the plant. Here's the 3 chillers with the pumps, and you can, if you look closely, you can kind of see what they're doing. Here's a wing of classrooms, and if you clicked on one of the classrooms, you would see this. And sometimes it saves us a ton of time. We can see what's going on in a room when we get a call. We can figure out a lot just by clicks right here and maybe save a trip out to a classroom. Just sometimes fix a problem that way. I'm able to do. I'm still learning how to most efficiently assign things there, but I'm learning that and then the process of that. And then we have 6 maintenance people. There's a supervisor there. His name's Ralph Bella. I asked him what he's most proud of this last year. He said it would be this boardroom. Maintenance guys put in a lot of time over here. They literally built the desk you're sitting in. They're pretty proud of that. They do a lot though. I mean, there's some pretty amazing staff that are willing to try new things. There's other projects I can share that I'm very proud of what they do and what they're willing to try to do. Our grounds team, led by a gentleman named Pedro Reyes, he was most proud of this past year working on the memorial gardens in both campuses. I probably should have posted some pictures, but he takes pride in his work. If you notice the grounds when you pull in both sides, this guy is awesome. In custodial, we have right now 20 full-time employees in the custodial side of things. 2 staff over at the warehouse, and we just lost our custodial supervisor. That's a PM shift job. And I could really use any help trying to find. We're not getting a ton of people applying for that position. It's kind of wearing me out. So if you guys know anybody, In my way. You guys may ask me, what's one of your greatest needs? I would say this is it. It's been on the radar since I started working here. This is a picture of the parking lot over at Union. You know, it's obviously a trip hazard, but it's kind of beyond the point of just crack fill and seal coat, right? This parking lot's pretty toast. So, many other needs, but I just thought I would leave you with one. Maybe a mistake, and we could prioritize that thing and get it done. I wrote the word balance there. It's kind of been a theme in my life for a couple of years. My kids hear me talk about it all the time, and just how, in my world, it's like we got to try our best to be proactive, but at the same time, we got to be reactive, because part of the reason we're here is to fix broken things. So, to balance being proactive and reactive, and to do all that, sometimes you got to be willing to change gears pretty quickly. So that's the facilities department.
Question, Ted?
Could the question be about tennis?
Sure. Tell me how the tennis team's doing right now.
Well, we don't start till after spring break.
That's good. The other question I had was, service orders.
Yes, sir.
Used to be, I remember we used to get like a monthly report. You'd have like 2,000, when I was on the board. Used to get like a monthly report and said there were like 2,000 service orders out, and that you accomplished 80%. Or you, not you, excuse me, but whoever it was at that point was doing. And so I was just wondering, how do you guys do in general?
So I don't typically track it monthly, but I have the technicians that take the work orders and go do them. We track those, and part of, they can't close it till they put in time. They could put 0 hours if it's something that literally took 0 hours. But so then every week, it just automatically kicks me a report and tells me how many hours did they log. So I could be like, accountability, like 4 hours, really? And sometimes an explanation. You know, maybe they spent 32 hours on something, they hadn't put any of that time in yet. Those things happen. But that's how I use it. If you want some reports?
No, I think it just, obviously the ability to detail things is probably quite a bit different than it was, 10 years ago. So you guys can track.
I dove into it, I feel like up to the game on it, and I think we use that school use stuff pretty well. It's made for schools, so if you take the time to learn it, it's an awesome tool.
I appreciate it.
Dave gets annoyed with it because people could put in multiple work orders for the same thing, and that can be annoying, but that's just the poison that we gotta live with.
How many hours would you say that you spent on getting this room set up the way it is?
Start to finish?
Yeah.
From this, when it was a classroom to now it is what it is? I could probably tell you, I could go into school and log it. It wouldn't have my time because I don't put my time in there, but. You're sitting right there the whole time.
That's amazing.
Working.
I was in beats mode.
Supervising.
Supervising, here we go.
I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks.
I would say at least that.
Of full time. I mean, obviously I had to take them, they couldn't just stay here. They can't out, they could do other things. So I would say if we added it all together, it'd be like 4 to 6 total weeks.
Thank you.
We saved a lot of money, by the way.
President Hennis too, why he's standing there, because he's a very humble man, but I will tell you this, that I've been around a lot of people in education and a lot of facility stuff. Nobody has gotten more from the SFB for their district than Tim Mace has for this district. I'm telling you, he does a great job getting them involved and getting things good for us.
We sure appreciate it, Tim, and your staff also, all the guys, especially during this COVID time. I know that all the extra work you guys have been kind of doing. Thanks. We are down to matters reserved for board action. Item A is fiscal year 2022 district renewals.
I move we approve the certified classified administrative renewal for fiscal 2022. Then,
second that.
I have a motion and a second, Mary?
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Ms. Harrington,
Yes.
and Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
Motion passes. We're down to, item 2022-23, the academic calendar. Dr. Beebe, would you like to kind of walk us through a little bit on this?
Absolutely. Once again, I'm very proud of the fact that we were able to collaborate with the elementary district through a joint calendar committee. And probably one of the easiest negotiations I think I've ever been involved with. It didn't take very long, but we were able to once again align our calendar for 21-22 to meet the same exact calendar for the elementary district. Again, as we move this next year into our modified year round, we'll be starting school in late July, having a 2-week fall break, a 2-week spring break, and then getting out just a little bit. It really does add a week to both ends of the traditional school year. But we did that collaboratively, and even this year we had the superintendent from Stanford will also join us. And anyway, I think we have all of our feeders now except for one who is following our exact calendar. So it's made life a lot easier for a lot of our parents.
I just wanted to say that having the 2 weeks in March and the 2 weeks in October, as opposed to having 2 extra weeks in the summer, is inspired. It's very nice.
Yeah, I tell you what, I mean, now we are actually moving to the modified schedule this summer, correct?
Correct. We'll move to that calendar date for this coming school year.
I think it's great. We had talked about this 10 years ago, and when I was on the board a long time ago, part of this stuff, and I'm just really thrilled that we are finally going to this modified schedule. It's a great fun. So we need a motion to adopt this.
I move we adopt the joint calendar for 2022-2023 academic calendar.
Second.
Presented.
There's a motion and a second. Mary, would you call the vote?
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Ms. Harrington, and Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next up is the Chemtex contract. It's the last year of a 10-year contract. So this is our basic supplier for, so these guys are,
They're the water treatment for the district. I think the water. It has to be approved every year, this is a contract, not a contract.
and this is the last year of this contract?
Yes, it's probably get extended, but we might see it.
These are what keep all the pipes and Tim's chillers running clean?
I think one of our drinking water. Oh, it's
Yeah, I would think that you need some kind of filters on that, so otherwise that's okay, block up for calcification. Okay, this is an annual contract that needs a motion for renewal.
To renew the Chemtex contract as presented. This is the last year of the 10-year.
We have a motion, is there a second? Second by Joe. Mary, would you call for the vote, please?
Mr. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Hennis,
Yes.
Ms. Harrington, yes, Mr. Kirby.
Yes.
Motion passes. We're down to item number 7, which is just strictly a discussion item. It's about COVID-19 days for employees. Dr. Beebe?
President Hennis, members of the governing board, this is on here just to give you an opportunity to discuss this publicly. As many of you might know, is at the beginning of the year with all the COVID happening, school districts across the country were given COVID days that we had to give to our employees. We had 10 days for our employees for COVID-related illness that might cause them to miss work. There was federal funding that came along with it to pay for it. However, right around November, we were told that that funding would go away and that COVID days would not exist beyond December 31st, 2020. So we prepared for that. And then as like a lot of things in education, a couple of weeks later, they said, well, we changed your mind. You can continue it as long as you as a district are willing to take the cost on and take it on. So at that time, we have not, for this current year, we have not extended. We have not extended any COVID days for our employees for this semester. Yet we're learning virtually. And I can safely say that we have worked with every single employee of our district. We've taken every case on a case-by-case basis, and we've worked with them to ensure that people are not able to work and not missing out on paychecks. So we haven't really had a necessity as of yet. We are potentially coming back to school on Monday, the 8th. And so, then we'll start to have interactions again. But at this point in time, we have not felt like it was necessary, but I know that it has already been a topic that's come up in the IBN process. And I think that there are some of our certified group that would like to see it be reinstated. So that's why it's here for discussion, just to see what your thoughts are. We can use our CARES money to fund it, should we choose to implement it, and we could bring it back for the remainder of this year. We could look at next year. That would be up to you as a board, but we would have to bring it back to another board meeting for you again.
Yeah, and this is separate and above the normal days off or sick leave days, et cetera. This is a separate item for it. This is cannot be carried forward, nor at the end of the year, if you haven't used it, there's no pay for it, et cetera.
Correct. And so even if we were to, let's say you were to, as a board, were to reinstate it for the rest of this year, anybody who had used their days in the first semester does not get 10 additional. So it's for all employees, 10 days for the year. So anybody who's already used their days would not get additional days. But anybody who hadn't had their days would have days moving forward. And it's over and beyond their normal sick time, PTO, vacation time. It's intended for people who have to miss work for COVID related.
I know I brought this up in the executive session as well. I wonder with with more and more staff getting vaccinated, right? How many would truly need to take advantage of these days? Logic tells me that the demand for these days should be decreasing, right? Which actually leads me to wonder if perhaps we should allow these days, understanding that most staff members aren't going to need to use them, but in the event that they do, they're here.
I think one of the other arguments that come out is we're still waiting, I think all of us are still waiting on the CDC to decide if you have been appropriately vaccinated and you are 2 weeks beyond, do you still have to quarantine or not if you become in contact with somebody who's COVID related? And they haven't come out and taken a stand yet on whether you do or you don't. Right now, Pinal County Health will tell you you should as a precaution. So that's a whole nother can of worms that we haven't discussed that these days would impact.
I guess just for discussion purposes, if you were to, it would only be to approve the balance of this year, and then we could look at it again next year as opposed to making a blanket right now at this point. We could look at it being next school year.
Correct. So you could, if we brought it back as an agenda item for the next board meeting, you could certainly take action on it for the remainder of this year. And then you could look to make a decision for the following school year beyond the school. You don't have to make a blanket decision for any length of time. You can just take it school year by school year.
Any other questions? Any other discussion on that item?
I was just gonna say, if we did decide to do that, taking it school year by school year seems the most logical course of action. Absolutely. We have no idea what next year's gonna look like. Anyway.
Okay. We are down to item 8, which is the consent agenda. Is there any, there's items A through H, is there any of these items that are being asked you to go over? Any questions?
Mr. President, I'd like to remove item B. Vote on it separately.
Okay. So we've got a consent agenda for approval for items A, C, D, E, F, G, and H for approval. Need a motion on that, if we could, please?
Motion to approve the consent agenda, removing item B.
I'll go ahead and second.
There's a second to that. Call for the vote, Mayor.
Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Hennis?
Yes,
Ms. Harrington?
Yes.
Kirby?
Yes.
that passes. Okay, so we are down to item B, which is additional extra duty appointments and stipends.
Make a motion that we approve item B, additional extra duty appointments.
So there's a motion to approve that item B separately. Second.
I'll second.
There's a second.
Mr. Wright?
No.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Hennis?
Yes,
Ms. Harrington?
oh, no, I mean, you call for whatever, you're well.
Yeah, so-
Yes,
Should I call the question?
sure.
I guess I don't know if we have some discussion on reasoning one way or another. I don't feel comfortable voting yes or no without kind of having more information.
That's really a question for Chuck.
Yeah, I don't know, Chuck's on, if there's a specific reason about something that, unless it's just Chuck has a opinion, he doesn't want to vote on the specific item, that's his choice.
It is is an item that we have discussion on, and I've come to the determination I can't vote yes for it, so that's all I want to say on it.
So we've had discussion, I'll go ahead and call for the question, we have a motion and a second again, and so I'll ask you, the votes are?
Mr. Wright?
No.
Mr. Lopez?
Yes.
Mr. Hennis?
Yes,
Ms. Harrington? And Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
okay. Well, according to Mr. Sipes, once we have finished all business for the day, that we will, according to Robert's rules, we will adjourn this meeting, having finished our business for the day. All those in favor say aye.
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 We're adjourned.
Governing board members, before you leave, just, let me know, I do need to request that